And my background, I'm coming from spiritual community which is based, rooted in Russia, and one of our name is School of Fifth Path. Do you know what is fourth way? You know about fourth way? Georgy Gurdjieff, George Gurdjieff, one of famous mystic of 20th century. Because we are on Transpersonal Psychology Conference, so I want to talk a couple words about transpersonal psychology first, and then to move to spirituality. To be here for the second day, I found that I'm more and more feel kind of disappointed and unsatisfaction. And I was trying to find out why it's 50th anniversary of transpersonal psychology. I kind of the psyche. How to define where is the borders of the psyche and what is the psyche in core. And even in Russian psychology, the Soviet psychology has a very big academic school. They make it very simple. They say the only matter exists, so what we can study, we'll study what happens from matter. And they created a natural field of psychology because they are trying to solve that. But when they meet some unconscious, for example, they could not explain it because it became really unexplainable. What if we study unconscious, how can we explain it through the materialistic point of view? So I recently, because I was studying this question and I did some PhD, even several PhD, I read a couple of articles of leading Russian psychologists, and the main idea of this article is that we really has difficulties in defining consciousness and psyche and finding the relationship between both of these things. This is one point. And the second, which is James yesterday came to partly, that in sense of transpersonal psychology, it makes the problem double. I have a background in mathematician, so it's not even double, it's like a square problem. Because not having borders of psyche, we found that psyche is infinite. Like from the Jungian point of view and from transpersonal point of view, even if we connect psyche with the body, we found that there is enormous, there is no body inside the psyche. So what I found in literature of transpersonal psychologists, that many of them is just don't look at the problem and they say, oh, if it's infinite, we will infinitely research. So the research of this infinite psyche could not be fully, we can't explore that because it's infinite. What we can do is just to find out some pieces of that. One piece, a different piece, like even in this conference, mostly people get some piece of research and researching that. And sometimes it's good, but sometimes in Russian we have proverb, you can, можно выплеснуть с водой ребенка.
Throw out the baby with the bathwater.
Yeah. So it's easy because we couldn't catch the core, it's easy to throw out baby. So I came to this question because I've been doing a lot of breathing work. I've done rebirthing, holotropic breathing, like from the beginning when it's come to Russia. And I came to the point, how can I find the criteria that someone really healed through this breathing? So they breathe, then they get an experience, they share an experience, they may be even inspired with that. But does they really had an integration, how breathing told us that we are going to integration of psyche, like holotropic breath work, we want to become whole. So trying to find out what is that, I was looking for speaking with some professional breath worker. I have even published a book with interview with professional breath worker. How do you understood what's the result of your breathing session? And I created methodology of that, but I still was feeling unsatisfied because of not clear criteria of is really process completed or the integration happened. So I gone to idea of integration, and finally I was needed to go to mathematics and to philosophy. And I found that even Aristotle put that there could be infinity, the infinity could be two types. One is potential infinity, which goes forever, like how many of psychologists look on the psyche. It goes forever and will never reach infinity. By definition, it never finished. But there is another type of infinity which Aristotle said that it's not possible first, and he called it actual infinity. It means that something could be infinite, but in the same time you could operate with it. Like in mathematics, some mathematician, Georg Cantor, he said it's possible. For example, irrational numbers are actual infinity. They have infinite numbers после запятой,
After the comma.
after the comma, and you never get whole numbers. It's not possible, but you can get them as a whole. And this is metaphor, of course, but this metaphor, and not only metaphor, the idea of actual infinity helped to solve several things. Thank you. For example, the paradox between Achilles and the turtle, if you know this famous paradox of Zeno. So, if we really understood this idea, we can at least предположить, assume,
Suppose.
that the psyche could be I don't know what's the English, what is better, like cognized or conceived or like completed. So even being infinite, and even if it's not had full borders, it is possible to conceive psyche as a whole, like we can do with actual infinity, and operate with that. And thinking on this process like that, I would suggest, I see that it's made a whole purpose for the human life, and it also can create a new purpose for transpersonal psychology. Instead of just researching infinitely for everything and going to some altered states of consciousness, which every time will be different, that's true. But if to have a purpose for ourselves to become complete, to create a wholeness of a psyche, and it's a personal purpose for transpersonal psychology, if to choose a purpose to research the methodology, how to become completed. It could be fulfilled ideally. So, and there is a criteria of achievement in this case. So this is basically, in short, what's the idea. I have some papers. I have newsletter of the project I'm working in California, which is called Russian House, and I want to invite you there. And we do a lot of work in order to really get enlightenment. And I have, we published Guide to Enlightenment, we published this newsletter, and you're welcome to come to me at the conference and to the Russian House. And they are on the back. And I'm also with some puzzles, so if you want to practice your mind, come to me.
Did you have a question too?
I was just going to ask if you were familiar with the philosophy of Sri Aurobindo and the Mother.
Yes.
For me, that brings me closer to an understanding of what you're talking about. But that while psyche may be infinite, our ability to focus it and express it is limited by our present state of evolution, and which includes our frame of consciousness, and that as we expand our frame of consciousness, we can express more of it and comprehend more of it. So that it may be infinite, but our ability to express it is limited, and as we grow, we can express more and more of it. So that represents a trajectory of human evolution, largely in terms of consciousness.
Yeah, I know the integral psychology. I know Brandt very good, and I've been more of it. Yeah, it's close.
I was taking a class with him once, and he was talking about transpersonal, and I brought up a problem that transpersonal has in that what you mean by transpersonal depends on the individual transpersonal psychologist, and I thought that transpersonal should be subsumed under the integral psychology and philosophy, because there's an entire conceptual package there.
Yeah,
and he said he understood that, but he still felt that it should be subsumed under transpersonal, as a type of transpersonal.
Yeah, I know about this arguing. It's happened between Ken Wilber and Stan Grof, and yeah, it's happening. But I make a pretension on bigger even that. I think it's a psychology of completeness. What I'm trying to say, it's because there is the idea that completeness possible. So everyone can cognize your soul, your psyche. So this может перевернуть. It's like a crucial
Turning point.
turning point. I see it like that. So it's not always because of our Rabin. There has also huge scale, at least in the Brandt, how Brandt is spelling. It's like very, very fine. Maybe I'm not sure that it's reachable the largest states which he could in our Rabin as well.
Thank you.
Да, спасибо.